Welcome to T-Smack, home of the T-Smack. May I take your order?
Welcome back, Smackheads, one and all. What we have for you today is a Alex and Justin episode. Justin, of course, from the Movie Wire show, and let's not forget that Justin is also from Behind the Balcony, and Justin is also from the Great Pacific Northwest, where he experiences about 275 days of rain, 14 days of fog, 1 day of sunshine, and the other days can be marked as okay. Justin, how are you today?
I am fantastic, and the rain has come. It's been raining all week, and I absolutely love it. So, my favorite time of year. And Alex, it's back to the balcony, you
Oh, crap.
bastard.
What did I say?
Behind the balcony.
Behind the back to the balcony. Well, that's where I hide, is behind the balcony, as I listen to you guys doing shows, and I'm like, ooh, am I going to get on today? And then every week I get the little slip of paper underneath the door that says, oh, you've been bumped for time. I was like,
Hey, that was a good save. That was your improv skills amaze me, sir.
Thank you. Now, I want everyone to know that Josh is actually okay. He currently is being de-resed while looking for the MacGuffins of a good Packer season. And he'll be back probably next week, depending on if we can find the right particle laser that apparently does all. And if you haven't picked up what I've been putting down, that means that this week we are talking about Tron Ares. Tron Ares is a legacy sequel, I guess, to a 15-year-old No, actually, it's a legacy sequel to a 15-year-old sequel to a 30-year-old sequel.
No, nobody knows. Nobody cares. It's a Tron movie. Like the prequels, requels, whatever.
Oh man, I have some weird thoughts about this franchise, but we will save those for after our little promo bump here. And but I will say, I had the one of the greatest pleasures of this movie was that I was the only person in it. 2 p.m. on a Thursday afternoon. It was quiet in the theater. There was no one around me. The movie started on time, which, since it's AMC, that means that I showed up 20 minutes late to catch 4 more trailers, and then it started.
Well, you had Tron on your roster on our
Oh, yeah.
contest, right?
No, I liked yeah.
Well, not a good start for you. I think I have Wicked on mine, and I think that beat some records on pre-sales on tickets. So, and you have your empty theater. I'm sorry, Josh.
All right, let's get this. Let's get to our promo from our friends over at Cast and Views, and then let's dig into the joy of Tron Ares.
Fancy taking a humorous trip down a random topic each week? You do? Well, you're in luck. Casting Views, presented by me, Dan, and a host of guests, bring you just that. With topics from the world of entertainment, science, sport, and everyday life, there's bound to be a topic that's going to inform and amuse. Catch Casting Views every Sunday on all listening platforms now.
I wish Dan had his own white noise machine. I can listen to that voice all day and all night.
Oh, it's true. Like, I have some friends. Every once in a while, we have like game nights, and just so I end up spending the night crashed out in a spare bedroom of theirs, and they let me know, like, hey, we have a white noise machine. And I'm like, oh, that's fine. I listen to like rain sounds all night while I'm asleep. And they said, well, okay, so our white noise machine is actually a podcast. The person just has a very soothing voice. So if you just hear some people talking in the middle of the night, we're not having a cult ritual or anything.
You know what? Just put Dan's voice with Matthew McConaughey telling like stories, or just say my name.
Exactly.
And I'll be happy.
Justin, what is your, I guess, familiarity or enjoyment of the Tron franchise? Because it's 3 movies. First one was in 1982 that really kind of pioneered some CGI work. It was put out during the off years of Disney, when It was after Walt had passed away, and they really were kind of just listing along, making movies here and there, but re-releasing their catalog in theaters, still doing stuff with the parks, but they were just kind of floating along, trying to find their way. That's when like we got like Black Cauldron and some other stuff. And then 2010, we got this, hey, we're bringing Tron back. It was groundbreaking then, and now we can push the visuals again and see what's happening. And I think there was a 1 or 2 season cartoon on Disney XD or something. I didn't actually really watch that. And now we have Tron Ares, which they seem to be pivoting from groundbreaking visuals to, hey, we got cool soundtracks. Yeah. Everyone liked the soundtrack from the last one, right? I mean, we made Daft Punk relevant, sure. I mean, Daft Punk was already relevant, but we're having 9 Inch Nails do this. Yeah.
The original Tron, that one, to me, groundbreaking. It was appealing. The visuals were stunning, given the time. It was something unique, and it kind of led into that video game era of just the fun factor. And then we fast forward to the second one, which, forgettable. I didn't like the second one. I really didn't. I think, to me, the bottom line is you have to have a good story. You have to have good performances. You have to have visuals that beat out the original in idea. And we didn't have that. It looked okay. It sounded okay. The performances are good. But when it comes to a Tron movie, to me, again, there was nothing that really stood out other than Jeff Bridges coming back. That was the most memorable piece of it. So to me, I think it didn't hold up to what the tradition of the original showed audiences of something new. So I like the first one, and I'll get into the new one where that's what the episode's about. But I kind of just want to go back and just say Tron goes to the original. That one holds the trophy, and it's hard to compete with an original. But the second one, to me, didn't even try. It went off of nostalgia factor, and it wanted to appease audience based on characters or legacy, if you will. So, yeah, didn't like the second one.
Agree with you that the strongest part, I think, of Tron Legacy was Jeff Bridges being back in his role. I like the original Tron. It's kind of cutesy because it is still that part where we're trying to figure out what a digital world is in life and the projection of it. A lot of this projections have somewhat come true, especially how we interact with or how we discuss and discuss computers, electronics, digital world, and all that. Lord knows, Meta and other companies are trying their damnedest to shove us into their version of a world, but it turns out that apparently Star Trek was a little more right, that we would just go around walking, holding tablets in our hands, looking at them and hoping our life's questions are answered. But I did like Tron Legacy for its style. It updated the suits and the look of it, I thought, really well. Loved the music. Daft Punk was a perfect choice of it. The electronic landscape. It had a vibe to it, partially because the producers paid Daft Punk to leave France, come to the US, built them a studio, anything they wanted, and they were just writing hours and hours of music, and that music was being played while they were filming the movie. So they knew what to look for, how to like kind of pre-edit and film scenes based off the vibes of the music. And Tron Legacy has one of my probably top 10 scenes in movies. I've mentioned it ad nauseum a few times. There's a fight where he's there. They're going to the nightclub, and they betray Flynn and Cora, and they have to be saved by Jeff Bridges as Flynn showing up. Michael Sheen is just hamming it up, dancing as Daft Punk is playing music, changing music to the tempo of the people of the fight, depending on who's winning. And you get this beautiful scene of like the lights dimming, and you see the glow of like this cloaked hood of Flynn showing up, and all the programs are dropping to their knees and bowing to him and calling him user, because user to a computer program is the most powerful person. The music is wonderful. The way he walks by, kind of like just skimming his fingers across the people's like, templed hands. Beautiful. One of my top 5-10 scenes. 15 minutes of pure perfection of what it would be like for a missing Messiah to show up, and how people would react. Love it. Other than that, it's fine.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give you that. The music, again, soundtrack, fine. The composition, fine. All that really did complement it, and I think they really had to lean into the music here, in Legacy to really amplify it, and that was gonna be one of my gripes here that we'll get into. But also the importance of what can really save a movie when all the components are kind of really working, where it doesn't become just a complete useless flop. So I think the music, you're 100% right. It does work. It's one of those that you can, I've said it on my show. Can you close your eyes and have the same experience to an extent? And with Legacy, you can at least be entertained by the music. The dialogue, sometimes it has moments, but um, the music is really going to be that experience when it comes to Legacy with me, at least.
I agree with that. Like when I rewatch Tron Legacy, which isn't often, I kind of skip ahead to moments, or I just let it play in the background until like the the music draws me back into it. I mean, it's pretty to look at. It the story is the story. It's basically the same as the first one. You have Clue returning. You're looking for Jeff Bridges, and the I'm going to clarify this. I love Jeff Bridges. I think he's great, but he is more of a persona in the last 20 years than necessarily he is as an actor, in my opinion, because that Flynn compared to the original's Flynn is not the same character. I mean, his Zen Buddhism, what is it, the dude kind of persona that he's kind of adopted for his life. I'm fine with that for the movie. Okay, the guy's been stuck in a computer program for 30 years because he's willingly going into there and afraid of his own creation thing, which of course is kind of the story of the first one. And the ending of the movie basically wrote them into a box of what to do. So I was thinking we probably wouldn't get another Tron because the first movie didn't really do well. Disney didn't know what to do with it. They were like, okay, this is weird, this is interesting, and they just kind of put it out in theaters. I think it won some awards that they basically invented for it, going like, yeah, you did something really weird and cool with effects. Great on you guys. Good job. The second one was all about the soundtrack, and Disney milked that. They released a soundtrack, they released singles, they released remixes of it. I was reading an article after Daft Punk broke up a few years back, and basically the producers said that Disney is sitting on like hours of additional music that they own because they pay Daft Punk for them, that they haven't decided what to do with yet, that they're probably just going to trickle them out over the next years because they basically pay Daft Punk for like 2 years to just sit there and write. I am happy that this movie, Tron Legacy, gave us Joseph Kaczynski. He went on to do Oblivion, which I think is pretty underrated. Yes, this kind of gets written off by it's another Tom Cruise movie, but I actually like it. I think it's pretty fun. And then we got what he did, Maverick and F1. He has a guy. It was a director who was given a chance to a first time director who has been hitting a style and delivering us movies that at least push the boundary of what we can see on screen. I don't know what the hell Tron Ares was trying to do.
Well, here's kind of the deal. And I'm going to go back to Bridges, where you mentioned, and I just want to state that I want him in my white noise machine too.
Yes.
The voice he has in Ares is just absolutely incredible. Dan, McConaughey, and Bridges. Those are my three. That's my trio. But this is where I liked it better than Legacy. I'll just state that right now. But this is an experience. This is a light show. This is a laser show that you go to where you just lay on your back and watch the ceiling to 9-inch nails and just have that experience. I've seen it twice. And the first time I saw it was in a normal theater. And there's a rhyme and reason for it. Then I saw it in IMAX. So this is where I'm going to state in my review when the episode's released is when we review a movie, we do it based on the IMAX, the experience that's going to have a short shelf life, or we do longevity? Will this be enjoyed in a normal household? Looking at it through the scope of you don't have a surround sound, you don't have a sound bar, you're bare bones basic watching it on a 50 to 90-inch TV, whatever it may be. Will you have the same experience? And the answer is no, you will not. Because this one, you are drawn, just like I talked about in Legacy. You can look at the lights, the pretty lights, the visual effects. I mean, the art department has a longer cast list than our actual cast. So this one, you can scroll down IMDb for like, I think 45 seconds, and that's the movie is special effects. So you add that with the music, it's a spectacle. But this is where I am going to give a lot of credit to the filmmakers and the direction here is they know how to take elements to make kind of a limp, weak story and lift it up. And that's something, in my opinion, Legacy didn't do. Is you can still see the limp story throughout, and we have those moments, but Ares had a lot more moments of spectacle and music, and I think that's what really made it entertaining. The first time I saw it, I I liked it as an entertainment. When I went to IMAX, I liked it even more. But I have to go back to the original. That if I'm watching it on a normal theater screen, it's not the same experience. And that's what drives me nuts about movies that go for spectacle because they're not thinking of the longevity of it because experiences in theaters now are limited to theatrical runs. So we have to think of how people are going to visit it 5, 10 years down the road. That's where the story is so important. So I don't know. I'm back and forth on it. Will I watch it again? I don't have a desire. I thought it was a fun time at the theater, but what really saved it is, again, Trent Reznor's score and Atticus Ross's score. I think that really, that longevity of that composition going through it is something I was paying more attention to than our actual characters.
I have to agree with you completely because I have defended the Avatar movies, James Cameron's Avatar movies, because I love James Cameron. He knows what he wants for a product, and he goes in and he provides clarity. I will say he's probably the best director that we've ever seen who knows how to provide clarity of action. You are never confused as to where somebody is, what the stakes are, what's coming up, where they are, what's behind them. Everything he does, you see on screen through his framing and his the way he works with his editors. But I don't revisit those movies at home because on the big screen with those colors and that sound, it is, and I see them in 3D. It's gorgeous. The stories are fine. The first one was was this the same movie we've gotten. Pocahontas, Dances with Wolves, all that. It's the old trope of somebody exploring a new world and falling in love with it. We have that. The second one was kind of the same thing, except instead of burning down trees, they're killing whales. This third one looks like probably going to be a very similar story, but now we have warfare between the different Na'vi tribes. Tron, I watch because it's cutesy and it has a place for me. Tron Legacy, I kind of put down for background noise, and I do like it because, hey, give us Olivia Wilde and Serinda Swan, some of those computer programs, attractive people in skin-tight suits that glow. What's not to like? And it has one of my favorite scenes, moments of movies ever. This one, I was sitting there watching it, and I enjoyed it, but it's a vibe. It is beautiful red lines. It looks great. You could tell they filmed a lot of this practically on streets. The light cycles, for the most part, real. There's maybe 2-3 moments I was like, that's a digital composite that didn't quite take. But it is just a vibe feeling. I'm not going to watch this at home maybe more than once. And I will probably, that first time I'm going to watch it, be like, it would be better if I had a 180-inch screen and some really good, THX, Dolby Atmos, whatever, 15.9 surround system. I listened to the soundtrack. It's great. Like you said, Trent Reznor, Atticus Ross, the Nine Inch Nails crew, they do great music. I mean, ever since, what is it? The Social Network, I think, was the first movie they did together. They have been just nailing it. And the director I think his name is Jonan Ronning. Nothing in his filmography to me has ever struck me. Dead Man Tell No Tales. He was working with some legacy baggage there. Maleficent, Mistress of Evil. He delivered a product that Disney wanted. Young Woman in the Sea. They buried that film on Disney Plus. So we have a workman director coming in. He understood his assignment, though. I give him that. Him, the cinematographers, they did their job. But it is just it's a vibe film. It's something that you should see in theaters. You're just going to let the visuals, music wash over you. If you try to watch it on your smartphone or your tablet or home, your eyes going to be drawn away because you just don't get that overwhelming pop and the way that it just can wash over you when your entire body experiences it.
You know what it is? It's given the Disney tradition. This is a live action Fantasia. This is something without Mickey Mouse, but he should have made a cameo. I think that would have been entertaining. But that's what this is. It's Fantasia for adults. And we talk about Ronning, and this is where I think the intent of the idea that they wanted this laser show, this Fantasia, this spectacle on screen, because what Ronnie has done perfectly well in the past is almost every one of his movies has a brilliant integration of the music. He understands, like you said, the assignment, but you take even his mediocre movies and you can just listen to it and it just integrates well. So you mix that with some fantastic editing, he gets the fundamentals of making a film, especially like this one with kind of a weak story. Everything else in the technical aspects work. There are some moments of awe. There are some things that made my mouth drop when it comes to some action scenes. And I think that is also built into the experience that I went into this movie based on the trailer, not excited. You and Josh know this, is I was worried this was going to be an alien takeover kind of film where it's just going to be less drawn and more invasion. And we didn't see that. So I was taken by surprise. And when we have these action scenes, it never overstays its welcome. So it's never a moment where, okay, let's wrap this up. We've seen it, now move on. We don't get that here. It's perfectly paced when it comes to the action. And I think that's where Ronning does a brilliant job when it comes to the direction of ensuring that we are never bored.
I agree with that. To get to the story a little bit, the story is a story. It is Ares, played by Jared Leto, is master control program for the Dillinger Corporation, the sinister corporation mentioned in Tron, but I don't think mentioned in Legacy. He's the most advanced AI they've built. You have Quicksilver, Sean Peters, who is the young heir trying to show up poor Scully, Gillian Anderson, that he can lead this company by pulling anything digitally into the real world through super fast 3D printing. But the problem is after 29 minutes, everything dereses and collapses because they haven't figured out the permanency sequence to make it physically in place. You find out that that when you make an AI do be all powerful, and you bring it into the real world, it gets fascinated by what's going on in the real world. Rain, music. I mean, this was beautiful. The first time he walked out and rained on him and he realized something was different. I love that. That was great, especially when the same thing happened to Athena, played by Jodie Whittaker-Smith. The similar thing happens to her while she's on the mission to destroy other people, and she gets kind of rained on, and she's like, "What is this sensation?" And that distracts her. I think that's beautiful. It's very well paced, but there is no story. The story is the story. We've seen it 1,000 times before. AI seeks to become human. Heck, we saw it earlier this year with Companion, I believe that film was called. There was TV shows about it called, well, I don't remember what it was called. Being Human, maybe, Almost Human. But when you're just sitting in the theater, you can forget all of it. It can be forgiven. Because as many times as the CEO of one of the two largest tech companies in the world,
no, Eve was the main character. Last name Kim.
Yeah, Eve Kim. There you go. Thank you. Eve Kim, CEO, mega corporation, about to do like this big presentation, has no security wherever she is, constantly getting kidnapped, chased, attacked in her own building, exploded. The only security, and bless them, that role should have been played by Bruce Campbell, was she walks into her own building. They say, "Oh, hi, Miss Kim. Welcome back from your trip." She goes to walk past the security guard, and the security guard goes, "You need a badge in," and won't let her pass the vestibule until her assistant shows up, badges her in, and says they're in. And then Ares is there, and they're like, "Well, he didn't badge in." And they kind of cut away
anyway.
Yeah, and they cut away from it. It's like that should have been a Bruce Campbell role, because that is straight out of the Raimi Spider-Mans of like this person blocking the most powerful person in the room. Like, really, you recognize Eve Kim straight up in front of you. You say hi. You know she's been missing. She comes back, but you're gonna make her badge in.
It's like it almost should have been a farce. Bruce Campbell would have been great, but it reminded me of what it should have been like John Candy's or a security guard in Vacation, or something a little bit more goofy like that. But what I loved about what you said earlier was the scenes that we have with the raindrops, or almost recognizing what reality is, right? That's Those are the scenes that I think we're really missing when it comes to it. We kind of present it, but we don't show it. We don't explore it. And that's where we lose a little bit of the stakes, the spectacle, because we have what we're leading to the climax, and I won't give it away yet because we're not doing spoilers yet. But if the intent is going to where Leto's character is going to go, then there should be a little bit of humanity to it. There should be a little bit more of moral exploration to it, especially when it comes to our Eve character, played by Greta Lee, I believe. This is where I had a problem with her character because we never explore her at all. And it shows a little bit in her performance where it's a little bit of a cheeky performance, where it's a little goofy, it's a little too Disney. And we don't really hold her seriously to it because there are no moral explorations on it. There is no in depth. It's just a mere surface level character. We see her do things, and those things that she does, we are supposed to care about it. But again, we're getting back into that spectacle level of we care about this character because she did this, or she's going to do this, or she has to find this. Those are the stakes, but it's almost a chore for me to follow that character along without support of the visuals. So that's where I think this movie really did flaw, and it really leans into that spectacle piece of it, where it has, again, like Legacy, moments, but the moments I wanted, they're 30 seconds long. We see the rain on her fingers, and then we're supposed to know what that means in a human level or a technology level. What does that mean for this character? We needed more of that. And I think those are the scenes, like, I agree with you. It's a moment that I really did enjoy. And to an extent, I liked it more than the spectacle. And I think that's what the big miss was here. It had awe-inspiring moments, but that rain scene, those a couple moments in the movie, should have been awe-inspiring to match the spectacle.
No, I agree with you. Like, so this movie is sub 2 hours, which I think is a perfect runtime for it. I was starting to get slightly, not anxious, but I was getting slightly like, okay, this is like the 16th time I've seen this beautiful visual of the light cycle, not the light cycles, but that ribbon that they put in the air, which I love. I love the interactions with it, where physical interactions in the real world, real world of people touching it and what it can do. I absolutely love it. But when you have additional characters that you pop in, like Cameron Monaghan, Catherine Isabel, that have briefly appeared, their names now were they there just because they love Tron? Possibly, but it also feels like if you're casting these people, there probably was a story there. There probably was an additional something nuance within their character that got lost in the editing bay when they started putting the visual effects together, and they're like, well, if we're going to let this scene breathe, then we're going to have to start trimming here. But there are some scenes, like you said, there are some scenes that should have breathed a little bit more. There are some character moments that I think were lost. Now, we're going to get into spoilers here in just a second, but you mentioned something. You mentioned John Candy. And I want to take a moment to say, yesterday, which was Friday, October 10th, on Prime dropped John Candy, I Like Me, a documentary that has been several years in the making. And I watched it. It is gorgeously, emotionally painful because it is a documentary about a person who no one has anything bad to say about. He had no scandals. One of the biggest scandals of his life was actually he did that cameo in Home Alone that turned out to be more than a cameo. Filmed it all in a day for like minimum wage to help out the screenwriter whose name suddenly escapes me. He did Home Alone, Pretty in Pink, all of those.
John Hughes,
thank you. That John Hughes kind of got him to come on set to do this role, and then they took all his footage and built it out into like across 30 minutes and didn't give him any back end points. And so he was mad at John Hughes and Chris Columbus for the remaining few years of his life. Which, by the way, if that's your biggest scandal, that you got mad because your friends tricked you into a film, and then that film was the biggest film for like 3 years straight, and then a sequel and crap. Yeah. And yeah, the scandal. He was mad at us.
We might have to do another episode because I'm on the opposite side of the fence on you on that one when it comes to
did you watch it?
I did.
Okay, yeah, we'll have to talk about that some other time. Teaser for an episode down the line. But yes, let's switch to spoilers here.
Shiver with anticipation.
So they're just going to sequel bait us again, huh?
100%. And this is what pissed me off, and this is going to be my rant, is I couldn't stand the antagonists here. They have no stakes. They have not a ton of screen time. Evan Peters looks so juvenile in his mannerisms when it comes to his diabolical plan, whatever it may be. But especially when we have Julian Anderson, they're just kind of popping here and there, checking on her son, where I just wanted to scream, what the fuck? Because why even have this character other than to have a death scene at the end to give artificial stakes? There is nothing to these villains except for the Wizard of Oz face. That I could have had the Wizard of Oz face in the Tron world for the entire movie and have that as a mystery of who's behind the curtain. Is it Danny DeVito? Is it going to be another version of Jared Leto? I don't really care. I would have rather had that as dangling the carrot at the end than seeing an uninteresting villain set me up for a sequel that I don't give a flying fuck if they make or not, because I don't want to follow this villain.
First off, I love Gillian Anderson, and her British accent is natural. She's American born, but she was raised up in Britain. So when she's doing British movies, she has her natural accent. When she's doing American movies, she has her American accent. When she first opened her mouth and was British, I was like, where the hell did Evan Peters not get a British accent from? This is pissing me off, and especially since their mom. And two, it's Gillian Anderson, man. Kiss her, man. I don't care if you're related. But no, I love Evan Peters, but he's 38 years old, and I don't know how the hell the second he's on screen, anytime, I immediately revert to him like 15 years younger because of fucking the Quicksilver movie. You know, he was Quicksilver. You know, I don't get it. It just pops into my head. But yes, he's a 38-year-old man child, and I didn't give a crap about him. And I was more interested in watching his are those real tattoos or those body tattoos? Because it's like he has full sleeves and like neck tats, and he like rolls up his he's like always wearing short sleeves. So I'm like, man, that's a lot of body paint. And I was kind of like looking for the seam like around the wrist of where, you know, fake sleeves, sleeved arms are. I didn't see any, but I'm like, good on you. I don't know why you're tattooed up, but that's his choice. But no, he has no plan. His plan is, I'm going to steal from Eve Kim. That is plan. But speaking of the Wizard of Oz face, I really wonder if that was practical, because that thing looked amazing. Yeah, anytime that he talks to Ares or talks to anyone in the digital world, it is a full-on Wizard of Oz, Matrix 3 visual effect of this voice from beyond. I thought it was great. I loved it. Especially since it continues that it continues the theme within Tron of user is the most powerful person that within any digital world, and when they interact with you, they're interacting with you as God, and I love that. But yeah, showing him just typing it out and then the voice, I'm like, I don't give a fuck. I hope you die. But no, he makes the critical mistake. He does not follow Asimov's 3 robotic laws. If you tell a program to do anything at all, to do anything and kill anything that gets in its way, he's going to kill your mom, you bitch.
Well, that goes into what we said earlier, is these are the moments that it missed, that it could have gone deeper. And you're right. It almost ruins the messaging of the godlike figure of what it could be. 100%, because on the other side of the curtain, if my God's Evan Peters, God help us, because that is absolutely stupid. And most of his
Yeah.
screen time is staring at his damn letterbox keyboard thing and giving dirty looks to it, or going out and giving dirty looks to the 3D printer. So that's most of his screen time. The only thing I found interesting, and I almost wanted to stand up and cheer, is when Julie Anderson went out and slapped the shit out of him. That was the best part. Well done.
I was not expecting that. She just kind of like, because she's Gillian Anderson and she's playing like, you know, the haughty kind of like mother who's been relegated because the board removed it from her and passed it off to him. And then she comes down after she's finally through with his shit and just hits the hell out of him. I'm like, oh, holy crap.
No dialogue, nothing. Just go. She knew what the audience wanted. They wanted somebody to slap the crap out of this guy, and she didn't need dialogue. She just goes, one slap, applause for me.
So, okay, I have to preface this in a manner. I am not in any way shaming Jeff Bridges. Jeff Bridges is a 75-year-old man. He's had a lot of health issues the last several years with cancer and a long issue with COVID, where he was hospitalized for a long time. We haven't really seen him on screen a lot in the last few years. So when it went to the nostalgia factor of going basically into the original Tron world through one of his, and Ares wants to basically receive permanence so he can experience the real world. And they figure out that that Flynn has hid this, and they go into the world. And of course he meets a version of Flynn, because Flynn is trapped or put himself basically within any version of the Tron universe of his own programs. It hurt me a little to see a vulnerable, obviously very changed Jeff Bridges, because when I think of him, I'm still picturing him over his roles over the last like 15, 20 years of my life. Or because it's Tron, I'm picturing his version from 15 years ago when he was late 50s, early 60s. It actually hurt me a little to see him on screen because he looks so different and his voice is not as strong as it was because of those health issues. And so I realized what he was doing. He's passing on the role, you know, he's still being that mystic role of user, but he was also imparting wisdom to Ares to give him this permanence code. And it just kind of hurt a little. Like, it made me feel vulnerable in a way I didn't like, because I am witnessing one of my heroes aging. And I'm not saying he was suffering, like, you know, like Tim Curry had a stroke, 20 years ago, something like that. And he occasionally comes out and does appearances, and you see that vulnerability of an older person who is going through issues, and that creates the mortality complex that we have. I mean, I'm aging, you're aging, but especially when they start talking about what it is to be human, and that Jeff Bridges has a beautiful line that says, I actually don't consider this a permanence code of making a program permanent. I see it as impermanence because you have one life left. And that just emotionally got me in a way that I'm like, I actually don't like this scene.
You know, and no, I'm not getting older, Alex. So nice try.
Thank God.
But I get what you're saying. Absolutely. And I think that is, again, one of these moments that we have is Bridges needed to have that vulnerability. He wanted to reflect that onto the audience, and it goes hand in hand of getting an emotional reaction from the audience, but also going into the monologue or the dialogue of what life is life is vulnerable. Life is short. Nothing is permanent. And the wording on it, it tries to use every line to have a memorable line. But at the same time, as we're watching Bridges deliver it, it's not the dialogue that's making us feel vulnerable. It's exactly what you said. It's that feeling of him delivering the lines, where we're seeing the way he's delivering it is just deep. It just feels, I don't want to say it's icky, because it's not, but it feels like time is icky, that it's not going to last in a permanent aspect of it. And I think out of any moment that this movie has, it's going to be Bridges' delivery to kind of sum it up. We know it's a little bit of a nostalgia grab to have him appear on it, because but I'm okay with that, because one, we see Bridges on screen. We see him kind of tie the movie up in a nice little bow of what life is. So it's hard for me to say I didn't like it, because I did like it. and it was probably one of the longest moments that we have in this movie to really tell a message of the many messages we had in this film. But the one thing it made me wish we had in this movie, if the woulda, coulda, shoulda, is the Tron world here looks just as beautiful as what we get in the rest of the movie with all the hard cuts and all the red lighting. This one looks fresh. It's old, fresh, and it almost makes me wish we had the movie kind of hints at it, almost an analog versus digital world, like a battle with that of the technologies combining with the moral message in between of the moral intent of how technology has grown over the last what 20, 30, 40 years, whatever it may be. So I think that is where the movie could have had a bigger impact when it comes to balancing the spectacle versus the moral messaging. Because we can tell in between the lines that there is a lot of moral messaging to be told, but it's overshadowed by the experience that the filmmakers wanted. And I think with Jeff Bridges, that one is the final attempt for this film to say, trust us, we're going to tell a message. And the message, pinky promise, will be stronger in the next one.
Yeah, I can agree completely with you because, I mean, after that scene, of course, they go to like a final battle. And I think there's a great moment in that, but I don't want to spoil that for anyone who may be going to see the movie because I actually really enjoyed that final battle and the interaction there. I didn't particularly enjoy the sequel baiting because there was two moments of sequel baiting. One was a sequel baiting of Tron Legacy of like, hey, we didn't forget these characters exist. But then the other one was of Evan Peters basically becoming another version of Clue within his own world. But Justin, we have Talking Smack a very simple ratings scale. A movie is either a complete tire fire, worst thing ever put to cinema, or it's a must see because it's not bad. I'm going to go first because I'm the host and I feel like it. I'm going to say this is must see because you should see it in theaters. You're going to lose the impact if you see it at home on your smartphone while sitting on the toilet. What about you, Justin?
100%. And even though this is where I hate your ratings because I hate saying must see when it comes to you must see it in theaters, but the experience is going to be horrible when you get home. But I'm an advocate for theaters, so I can't really contradict myself. And I'm going to agree with you. I think it is a must see in theaters. And I'll word it that way. It's an experience, and it's an experience you should have because, like I said, this one you can put it on mute or you can close your eyes. It's a feast for the senses. And whatever senses you choose to use, whether it's all of them or your eyes or ears, you're going to have fun with it. I think it sounds fantastic. It looks fantastic. And the pacing is spot on. And I think that's from the brilliant direction of Ronning here.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm rambling because I'll just say it. Yes, it's a must see because it is a fun time at the movies.
Justin, we have a few minutes here before we wrap up, so I wanted to pick your brain about a few things that came out this year that I would say are legacy sequels. The Jeff Bridges thing reminded me of Tony Todd in Final Destination Bloodlines. It was an actor who had been suffering for a while, and this is not Jeff Bridges' final role, but it was Tony Todd's final role that was on screen. It got me much the way it got me that Lance Reddick's final role was in John Wick 4. Unfortunately, John Wick 4's death scene, so that just hit even harder considering he passed away like a few months before that. But this year, we've had some weird sequels. Destination Bloodlines, The Naked Gun, and Mithrigan 2. I have to ask you, what the hell is Hollywood thinking right now? Because each of those movies, while not great, in my opinion, did the job they came out to do. Bloodlines revitalized the franchise in an interesting way. I believe you liked it, right?
100%.
Megan wasn't great, but at least it tried. And The Naked Gun got way more gahoffs for me than I expected, especially as it started leaning into the absurdity towards the end, where I was like, some of these jokes are straight up probably Abrams Zucker jokes that they found in discarded drafts.
You know, Bloodlines gets first place. The other two get participation trophies. That's how I would put it, because I love Bloodlines. I thought it did revitalize, and it had fun with itself and went all in. It ignored it. Well, I shouldn't say ignored. It became original on some ideas and went all in on the grotesque, but never losing the fun factor. Megan 2.0, I think I gave it 2.5 stars. I
Yeah.
think it had a good premise, but it just kind of got tiresome, and it didn't really do anything with it, where it just became predictable. And again, with the Naked Gun, Liam Neeson is a little much. I loved
Yeah.
him for the first half of the movie, but this is the thing. What I love the original Naked Gun, and you have to compare them. It's going to happen.
Yes.
Those that say you shouldn't, go fuck yourselves. This is where I think the originals went all in on the humor, and we see that hesitancy of humor nowadays. And when I first heard this was being announced, I was like, finally, this is going to bring back slapstick in a risque way. They're going to go all in on the humor, but it was just safe. This one, I think, didn't go far enough, and we have movies with the slapstick aspect, like Scary Movie. There's a reason it was successful, is because it took off the boxing gloves and didn't care who it offended. It just went all in on the humor. So I think this one played it way too safe, and it's not, in my opinion, it's not going to reinvent the slapstick comedy.
No. So Bloodlines did what I needed it to do, which is it just had to have interesting kills and a few twists that I didn't expect, and I enjoyed that. Megan, I watched the version that's on Peacock, which is the unrated version, so there was a few F-bombs and plenty of gore, so maybe that might have changed your opinion, but it was almost 2 hours long, and it was getting tiresome towards the end. But I do appreciate that they can tell they have an interesting character in Megan. I just think that they picked the wrong direction to immediately go like a T2 route with her. Of like, well, she was evil, now she's kind of mostly not evil. I think they should have leaned into let her be evil again, but not turn her necessarily into a Freddy or Chucky. Though you can do that successfully. I mean, there's a reason why Freddy, Chucky, Jason, Art the Clown are becoming horror icons. It's because each movie puts them in a situation that's a little bit different, and allows their character to grow a little bit. If you look at, well, I mean, you have to do Friday the 13th Part 2. But if you look at Friday the 13th Part 2 versus like Part 7, each one is different. You look at the original Nightmare on Elm Street to Dream Warrior or, Freddy's Dead, you get a different person. Art changes each movie. Art the Clown. When it comes to Naked Gun, I've seen Police Squad, the original show. It was way ahead of its time. They had no idea what to do with it. Producers actually told them, "You guys are too fast with the jokes and too many visuals. People don't actively watch TV; they passively watch it." And so it got canceled. Naked Gun 1, Naked Gun was a 22 Naked Gun 2.5, and then 33 and a third. Great movies. This movie acknowledges their history. And there were gags like the coffee gag. Freaking love that gag. I think Pamela Anderson and Liam Neeson play well together. That is very much a Drebin and Priscilla Presley. But I agree with you that they didn't, other than a few instances of acknowledging police brutality, they were too afraid to actually let that really, especially with the current political atmosphere, really lean into that, other than a few jokes here and there. So there was this weird, oddly enough, handcuffed, as you would say, of a bit of the humor. But it did get me really, really laughing towards the end when you have this fight scene between 73-year-old Liam Neeson and this other old man, and they go to throw punches, and one of them gets punched and is like, oh, I didn't expect you to hit me. Like, he's like doubled over. and the owl, I'm sorry, the owl is freaking hysterical. There were moments, but those moments were a little too far in between.
There were, and like I said in my review, it had maybe a 50% success rate because you're going to remember 50% of the jokes. I enjoyed the watch, but I gave that 2.5. But it's like there's maybe 2, 3, probably about 5. I can count 5 jokes on my hand that I actually remember.
Yeah.
But it's not bad. It's not good.
No, and I'm not going to rewatch it like I will the original. I mean, yes, I'm a man of a certain age where I grew up watching Airplane and Top Secret. You know, real slapstick comedy played as dry as possible, and I think what I'm hoping is that it did do fairly well for its budget. I'm hoping that we do get another one, and they're allowed to push themselves a little bit more, where they're allowed to unrestrain themselves, because I think Liam Neeson could be a decent Drebin, but at the same time, man. But Justin, let's get out of here. You have things to do. I have things to do. We have people to see. We have people to annoy. So, Justin, my friend, please let everyone know where they can see you, find you, talk to you, your personal home address, and the last 4 of your social, like I know.
So you can listen to me on the Movie Wire anywhere you listen to podcasts. You can also check out the Cult-Worthy Cinema podcast and the Movie Wire's crossover show Back to the Balcony on YouTube and on all listening platforms.
And everyone, we are talking smack. It's normally Josh and I most weeks, unless we're busy dealing with the ennui of life. And you can follow us. You can follow Josh at Josh._Scar SKAAR on most platforms, as well as Talking Smack Pod at most platforms. Listen, there's a lot of them. I'm not going to remember them all, so good luck. We would like you to join our Discord. Our Discord is tsmackpod@gmail.com. It's where we post news, talk to people, say inflammatory things. Like, Naked Gun's not bad. We'd like to thank Alan for our musical themes, Leo Allen for music themes, Beppo and Ritual Studios for the avatars. Please don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review. Those actually really do help out with the whole algorithm thingy, where the AI gods are in control of us, and if you don't click buttons or you leave us something early, it makes us sad, and then we don't get to eat this week. But mostly, we want to thank you all for listening. We want you to take care. We want you to remember that the Force is with you always. And Justin, what should people be doing?
Watch Star Trek.
Exactly. And Justin, I don't know if you realize, but this week's musical theme was actually done by a band that wrote some songs and disbanded called Tapeworm. That's a deep cut for people who don't know what the hell I just said.
You lost me at Tapeworm. I'm grossed out. Jared Leto still sucks.
Who loves T-Smack?
I love T-Smack. Is it true? Mm-hmm. I do. Ooh.
Man, I was really hoping we could get through all of that without somebody saying that.